You look at what this Governor Newsom from California, isn't that his name, Newsom? What he's done to California is unbelievable.
True. Donald Trump speaking the truth about the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, someone who I've been trying to warn the fine people in our audience about for quite some time now. But apparently his latest corrupt scheme has led to enough backlash that he's getting negative national attention, which I'm excited about because it's important for Americans to know who he really is. Now, California's corrupt snake of a governor is now facing backlash for a minimum wage exemption that he specifically pushed for one of his donors in the state of California. So Newsom is also facing an investigation into this corruption by Republicans in the state. And this is a good example of a Republican-led effort that I fully support. Now, a new law in California will raise the minimum wage for fast food workers to $20 an hour. Workers will begin receiving their new wages beginning on April 1st. Now, this is the Fast Food Accountability and Standards Recovery Act. The legislation was designed to give employees a role in regulating the industry by including them in a council with business representatives that could basically set wage and workplace standards, among other things. So this is overall really good news, right? You have a little tiny taste of what typically happens in European countries that have strong labor unions. The labor unions usually negotiate the wages on behalf of the workers, which is why Scandinavian countries typically don't have a federal minimum wage or something like that in their countries. They have labor unions that do the fighting on behalf of the workers. And so that's kind of what we're seeing here with the labor unions in California. And it's a policy that only pertains to fast food, and it was a big push by the labor unions representing the fast food workers. The new law in California will impact 500,000 people. So this is, again, overall good news. But then Gavin Newsom comes in and he fights tooth and nail for a very specific carve out that applies only to a very specific chain of fast casual restaurants in California, Panera Bread. Interesting. So let's get into the details. The new law doesn't recognize places that operate a bakery that produces for sale on the establishment's premises bread as fast food, according to the law's text. Wow, that's strange. What's the reasoning behind that weird carve out? Why that exemption? So the exemption meant bakeries were also off the hook on industry standards that could have been established by a fast food council with authority to set rules about working conditions. So basically, overall, Panera is exempt from this new law that seeks to create better working conditions for fast food workers. Now, when Newsom was asked about his reasoning behind the carve out, this is what he said. That's part of the sausage making. Yeah, he's a piece of crap.
Or bread making.
Yeah. So Newsom personally pushed for the exemption, make no mistake about it. One of the primary beneficiaries of the exemption is Greg Flynn, a billionaire and longtime Newsom donor who has 24 Panera Bread locations in California. Flynn has also been involved in Newsom's campaigns, donating $100,000 in 2021 to help Newsom fight against a recall, and $64,800 in 2022, which went to the governor's re-election campaign. I'm not done yet, Cenk. I want to get into some more details. Flynn, by the way, is worth $1.1 billion. Flynn has also been involved in business dealings with Gavin Newsom. They've done business together. So a business connection goes back to 2014 when Flynn acquired a Napa Valley resort managed by Newsom's hospitality company. Newsom, and this is all according to Bloomberg, who was then serving as California's lieutenant governor, reported an undisclosed amount of income from Flynn's company that year. So they did business together. Newsom is taking, obviously legalized bribes from Flynn, and then he returns the favor by fighting tooth and nail for a very special carve out that will be beneficial to his friend who's been shelling out the cash, funding his effort to avoid getting recalled. And by the way, there's now a new effort to recall him, and I hope it works. I'll give you the details in a moment, but Cenk, jump in.
We might have millions of people watching this show, but you can be the difference maker because we just need 1% of our audience to be paid members, and then this show can be around forever. So you can make that difference. Click join now. So this story is both about Gavin Newsom and it isn't. The more important part is the broader point. I'm gonna get to that in a second. But on Gavin Newsom, he's a very standard, slimy, corrupt, corporate politician. So I know if you're a Democrat, that breaks your heart, but I don't get it. He's so good looking and he goes on TV all the time and he defends the beloved Biden and California. We love California and he's the governor of California and we love Democrats.
No one loves him.
Okay, so now, no. Are you kidding me? I know
yes, all the privileged Democratic voters in California who fund terrible policies that cause a lot of damage to disenfranchised communities in this state, and they get to live in their nice, beautiful, gated communities while everyone else deals with the consequences. Yes, those are the guys who love Gavin Newsom.
There's two groups of people.
The French Laundry crowd, they love Gavin Newsom.
That's right.
Yeah.
So rich Democrats can't get enough of Gavin Newsom. They think they fanboy over him. They think he's like the greatest guy in the world. And to be fair to them,
he'll look out for them.
Yeah, from their perspective, it makes sense. No one looks out for those rich Democratic donors better than Gavin Newsom does, which I'm going to give you an example in a second. And unfortunately, a lot of good people who watch or read mainstream media, they're tricked, they're brainwashed into believing that these people are on your side. So let me give you another example so that it's crystal clear. And you can look at any of this up in mainstream outlets. They publish it once and then never talk about it again. PG&E, so that's the main utility company in California. Everybody says bury your lines, they're up in the sky, and as soon as there's a storm, they fall into the forest, they start giant fires and people die. And the entire town of Paradise wiped off the face of the earth, and we go on, right? But Newsom refuses to do that and put that regulation into place. You're gonna be shocked to find out PG&E has given him over $10 million in bribes. I mean, campaign contributions in his career. And you will find Democrats go, no. When Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump take that money, it is evil. When Gavin Newsom takes it, he's an angel. He must have had a real secret reason for being angelic. And no, he doesn't care about the fires and he doesn't care about the Panera workers getting the wages that they're supposed to care. Again, he cares about his donors. So I hate to ruin your fantasies, childlike fantasies about Democrats and definitely Republicans. Don't get me wrong, the Republicans do it just as much, if not more, okay? I don't want anybody having nonsense tribal fantasies about the politicians on either side being angels. No, they're just servants. That's all they are. So Gavin Newsom gets money from people like the Panera guy, and he serves him. I mean, look at this carve out. Look at this insane carve out.
And by the way,
for people who make bread in the exact way that Panera does, and the guy's funneling hundreds of thousands of dollars to him. If you can't see that that's corruption, no, you've lost your mind. You're just like MAGA. Totally detached from reality.
The carve out is so narrow that it only applies to Panera Bread.
Come on, guys, come on. Who could possibly believe that's not a bribe? Who could possibly? And it's some of the smartest people in the country because they're rich, and so they think that's why I love that guy. All right, so why is it broader? Why is it more important? Because they've now started to look into people's donors. Whether Trump is asking people to look into Koch brothers and other donors, and now they're starting to look into Gavin Newsom's donors. This was the most forbidden thing in American politics for 40 years. No one was ever allowed to talk about donors. Now we've started a conversation about donors, and that conversation ends very poorly for almost every Democrat and almost every Republican in the country. Not the voters. The voters, you're finally getting to see the truth, okay? But all these politicians are professional crooks, period.